followers of Medicated Vision Tricks? Matthew here, just bringing you another video update. And the update is this. Not shit is going on. But doing my daily runs at Circle K, you know, and walking. You can see I found a nice little spot along Speedway, Lane Boulevard here. Kind of post up and just chill. I'm over here at the homeless part. It's really sad, man. This time 2 years ago, I was not in the exact same spot, only because of the geography, but everything else, I was in the exact same spot, man. I was on the street. I was living in a tent city, literally, homeless, not couch surfing, not in between places, homeless, like on the corner panhandling with a sign, flying a sign all day for my bread, living in a tent, it was rough, man. I did that for the better part of 2 years, which I was there with cats who've been on the streets for 10, 15 years, 20 years, man. That was their corner, that was their block. They had been there longer than any of the businesses or establishments on that block. They had been there before them. So, there were some real old-timers, real hardcore, old school, but I was lucky to be able to get out of that life because I saw it, man. I saw it before my own eyes. It traps. It's entrapment. It traps you in it. And it's a cycle that is even hard. It's a harder cycle to break than addiction. It's a harder cycle to break than mental illness because it incorporates aspects of all of those, rolls them all into a big ball, throws them into a fucking socially unacceptable format, and then the public is fed fucking misinformation and told to shit on them. So literally, even those who want help, who are willing to put the effort in to get help, they can't get help, There's a lot, people with addiction problems and things like that, which I've also dealt with. I was a heroin addict for almost a decade and a half. Over 10 years I used heroin, and I'm clean now. I'm over a year sober from heroin thanks to methadone program and a life-changing event that, I thought I had hit lows. Nothing compared to this. So, anyway, I think, I thank my own personal God or whatever every day that I'm here, that, I'm alive, and I get up every morning, I get to go to barber school, I get to interact with people, I get to enjoy things, I get to fucking eat and drink and be merry and laugh at stuff and not be looked down upon to an extreme degree, which really, is something that you can't have when you're on the streets like this. And I don't want to be rude to any other people over here, but if I lift this camera up above these stairs, there's probably 15 people in this boat just chilling. They're all homeless. They got nowhere to go. And this is just one tiny little park in all of Tucson. There's a very big homeless population here. But it makes me sad, man. And they're not given resources. They're not given, when I was homeless, I tried to find resources. There was none. They said, oh, go to shelter. You can't get into shelters. Homeless shelters are a fucking joke. The homeless shelter that I went to? Not once did I get to sleep inside of it. I slept outside of it, uncovered against the brick wall on concrete. The only advantage to that homeless shelter, the only difference between sleeping outside on the concrete of the homeless shelter and sleeping outside of a Walmart is that, the police kind of don't fuck with you outside of the homeless shelter as much. That's the only difference. That's what the shelter had to offer. You know, they offered a couple meals sometimes, but that was it. In the way of sheltering, no, there was no sheltering of anybody. You know, not once was I covered from the elements. Not once was I given warmth when I was cold, or you know, relief from the heat when I was dying of heat exhaustion. So it's just fucked, man. And I was homeless in 2 places: Santa Cruz, California, which was god awful, and Austin, Texas. Which I will say that Austin, Texas, if you ever end up on the street, Austin is not a terrible place to be. There's a lot more sentiment and compassion for the homeless there than I've found anywhere else. Of course, you still get ridiculed and chastised and fucked with, but there are people there that care for the homeless too, and there are some cool programs in place there. Anyway, I was just passing this park and I was hot, so I wanted to sit down in the shade and I just got on the subject. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoy watching me do my thing, talk, whatever. I feel like, you know, if I even connect with 1 or 2 people out there, that's cool, man. That's what I'm doing this for. It's really an outlet for me, but, you know, if anybody else out there relates to anything I ever say, then fucking that's cool. But anyway, I gotta get back to my fucking school. It's 1:15, we start back at 1:20. I got about a 10-minute walk, so I gotta get to skedaddling. Anyway, y'all, love, peace, and Afro Grease. Remember what I talked about, man. Be compassionate to your fellow man. If you see someone in need, don't judge. Don't hesitate to help. Don't sit there and waffle about, oh, well, what if they use this dollar for a beer instead of, well, who gives a fuck, you know? If they're hungry, they're gonna use it for food. I promise. I've been there. Okay. If they use it for beer, well then, you know, whatever. But either way, help a motherfucker in need. Be compassionate, and don't be so self-centered. There's so much self-centeredness in this world, and I just wish that people would be more giving. I need to be more giving. I'm guilty of it just as much as anyone else. I find myself being very selfish at times, and I need to change that too. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. MBT out.